Hey there, Smite fans, and welcome to another SPL prediction video. This week is week 4, and it's a very short week. There are only 2 days going on, 8 games, all 16 teams still playing though. Honestly, a lot of them are a lot of these are kind of hard set. The teams have found their identities. The teams are where exactly we kind of expect them to be now. But we're starting off with a doozy, and I'll be honest, I never thought I would be saying this about these two teams. Randozos versus Enemy. It's the first game of the week in NA, and I'll tell you, I've had some struggle looking at this. So last week, Enemy was 2-0'd in both of their sets, but it was by Soar, who's vying for the top seed in NA right now, and by Envy, who has an all-star roster, and they're starting to pick up. But this is Enemy. This is the same roster that we saw in the spring split. This is the same roster everyone thought was going to be the only one at the time when they started shining that could possibly contend with Panthera. And yet, here we are, looking at this as Enemy versus Randozos and having difficulty assigning the value to this, just because, honestly, Randozos is at the bottom of the rung. They're 1-11 right now. They won the very first game. And that's what happened in the spring split as well. There's potential for them to there's potential for them to take a game here. Enemy, fallen from grace, sitting at 1-10, I believe, or 2-10, I cannot remember. But, I mean, sitting so low. They're the spot above Randozos right now. Of the top 8 places, they are 7th and 8th seed. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to put for this, and I'm going to advise you as to what I'm going to put for this as well. So, I'm going to say that this is a 2-0 in favor of Enemy. I'm going to say that Enemy is going to be the ones who are able to take this. I'm going to say that Enemy is running the show. If you put 1-1, if you put this as a 1-1 split, you are just as likely to be correct. It's not split down the middle. It's not going to be a 2-0 in favor of Randozos. It could be a 2-0 in favor of Enemy. It also could be a 1-1 between the two teams. I'm going to say 2-0 Enemy, but it could go very much as a split. Randozos have the potential to win here. I'm going to say 2-0, but this is really my dying hope for a team that has fallen from grace. It could go either way. This one's going to be really fun to watch. Allegiance versus Envy. So this one, not as close as it could be. Allegiance has stepped up their game immensely. Allegiance, the team that we saw in the first week versus the team we saw last week. They 2-0'd the Randozos, not that impressive. They 2-0'd Soar. That's where it's impressive. They came out on top against Soar. Now, other teams have done it. It's not an impossible feat, but they managed to do it and kind of make it look easy. They were some really great games. I advise, if you did not watch those, go back and watch them. They were some great games. And Allegiance has shown that they are working hard. They are trying at their best to get to this point. Envy, on the same standing point, but not quite as strong. Allegiance has come up and fought with some of the top teams and taken them down. They have shown that they want to work hard, that they're in a positive team environment, and that they're moving forward. Envy, on the other hand, they're moving forward, they're getting better. I don't know much about the team environment. I'm assuming it's good because all of these players tend to be friends with each other. And honestly, with the PvE game mode, I expect the team building to come up a little bit closer. All of the pro teams have been playing it and doing really well. Teamfight going to be very, very good from these teams in this next week. I personally think that. Envy was able to 2-0 Enemy last week, which, again, Enemy kind of fallen from grace, so not exactly the best example, but that's still an impressive feat. Enemy, the team that used to be number 1, got beat by Envy, who used to be next to last. But the thing that was impressive that they did was that they 1-1'd with Eager, and that's where things really come into favor for them, is that being able to take on Eager, being able to say, hey, you know this team that's easily top 4, top 3? We were able to take a game off them. And that's where it puts them up. I think this one's going to be a 2-0 in favor of Allegiance. I think Allegiance is going to come out on top. I think Envy's going to give them a lot of trouble for it, though. They're going to be able to make them hiccup. They might be able to take a game. I just don't see that being as likely. Whereas Enemy and Randozos is honestly going to be a close set, which, again, Envy, a team that was once a relatively top team, kind of fell after some weird roster swaps, going to be going up a couple former members, and I think they have some potential to it. I just don't think it's likely that they're going to be able to take a game here. Allegiance just came out too strong last week. For Denial versus Soar, this one's going to be relatively interesting. Soar, again, got 2-0'd by Allegiance last week, but that was more because Allegiance practiced their asses off than it was because Soar was playing poorly. Denial was honestly just, they 1-1 with Eager. and they got 2-0'd by Luminosity, kind of finding themselves. Again, Eager and Denial right now are on about the same level, sitting in the 4th, 5th place spots. LG and Soar are vying for first place, and Allegiance right now, honestly, Allegiance is up there vying for first place too. The top 3 teams are really close, although Luminosity showing themselves to be very, very strong. And for this matchup, Denial and Soar, I think Denial's not going to be able to do anything about it. Soar going to be able to take that in a 2-0. They've just been playing a little bit better, higher caliber. If Denial's been practicing, they might be able to come back, but they've seemingly gotten a little bit worse since the first weeks. They've gotten a little bit more towards the 5th place spot than the 1st place spot they were holding, and because of that, I think Soar's going to be able to take it in a 2-0. And the last match of the day, and the last match for NA of the week, Luminosity versus Eager. Again, Eager sitting in a 4th, 5th place spot, whereas Luminosity has just been playing lights out. While one of the games they played was against Randozas last week, the games they played against Denial just showed them to be like this insanely strong team. They are definitely coming out to be in the top, and it looks like they're going to be able to make them ways there. Honestly, Barracuda playing this Gene way lately has been what's tipping the scales in their favor. Eager may be able to take a split if they ban that away, but if they let Barracuda get anybody who he's comfortable with, and honestly Xenotronics and Scary D, and especially Mask actually, pretty much 4 of the members, it's really hard to ban out when 4 members, as long as they get something they're comfortable with, will be able to do something, and because of that, Luminosity probably going to be able to take that in a 2-0. Eager, they might be able to have some potential if they can get some really good picks and bans going, but I just don't see it being as likely. Moving over to Europe, we're going to be seeing the first game, not necessarily as close as some of the games in NA. Honestly, NA is going to be really fun to watch this week. Cyclone GG, NRG. Cyclone has been playing pretty well. They've been rising up, but again, it's against NRG, and NRG has kind of shown themselves to be vying back for their spot. They want to be on top, although Bipolar Method giving them a run for their money. Right now, though, NRG versus Cyclone GG, not too much question in my mind. NRG going to be able to take that in a 2-0. They're just honestly just on a higher scale right now. Cyclone GG is working their way up there. They may be able to find themselves in a position there in a few weeks, but honestly right now they're looking like they might be at most a 4th place team. Maybe 3rd place, but I just don't see it going up past then. Or Fantastic versus Sanguine Esports. This one, a few weeks ago, I would have called this as a split. I would have said that there was no way that, you know, this roster under Sanguine would be as strong as they've proven to be. They've gotten the support of Sanguine behind them, and because of that, I feel like they've been playing a little bit better, honestly, since they got this sponsorship. They haven't been playing the best. They did lose to Hungry for More, but honestly, let's admit it. Hungry for More, again, a different caliber of team, kind of like NRG versus Cyclone GG. It's just, when you play a different caliber of team, things just don't go in your favor. However, when they played against Cyclone GG, they were able to find a 1-1 split, and that's really where they're looking for it. Right now, they're not a top 3 team. Same as Cyclone GG, they're not a top 3 team. They're looking for the best they can get there. With Dignitas, with Cringe Crew in Europe, I've been having trouble going to be finding that rise against some of these other teams, but against Fantastic, gonna have to give it to them as an easy 2-0. I think they're not gonna have that much trouble. Maybe a couple hiccups, but nothing too serious. For Dignitas versus Hungry for More, this one also gonna be a relatively interesting game. Hungry for More not playing quite as well as they did in the spring split. Kind of the same thing as Enemy, except not quite to the same degree. They aren't playing the exact same way. They aren't playing as strong, but they aren't playing as weak as Enemy is this split. And on the other side, Dignitas honestly playing a lot better than they did last split, and because of that and where they stood last split and where they're standing this split, I think this one's going to be a split. Down the middle, 1-1 for the 2 teams. Honestly, Hungry for More may be able to take this in a 2-0, and honestly, Dignitas could take this in a 2-0. It could go either way. It kind of depends on the picks and bans for this game. But as it stands, I expect this one to split down the middle. Hungry for More not too weak to drop 2 games, and Dignitas not too strong to grab 2 games. And the last game of the week, it seems, would be Bipolar Method versus Cringe Crew. And while Cringe Crew was able to play pretty well last week, they were able to 2-0 Cyclone GG, and they were able to go 1-1 with Dignitas, and that's pretty good for them. They've been kind of on the fence lately. Against Bipolar Method, who's currently the #1 seed, the only one really vying, again, for that other top slot right now is NRG. And because of that, it's just, I mean, no doubt in my mind, Bipolar Method's just been playing a lot better than Cringe Crew this split. It's just, again, another different caliber of team. They're going to be coming out and playing lights out, and because of that, Bipolar Method's going to be able to take this in an easy 2-0. Again, maybe some hiccups, but I don't think it's going to be anything too serious. So going over the quick picks for the week in Randozas versus Enemy, it's going to be 2-0 in favor of Enemy. Again, this one could go really either way. I'm hoping for Enemy to be able to find their footing, but Randozos could find their second win of the split in this matchup. For Envious versus Allegiance, it's going to be 2-0 in favor of Allegiance. While Envy has been getting stronger, I just feel like Allegiance has been getting stronger than that, so it's going to be a 2-0 in favor of Allegiance. For Soar versus Denial, and the same kind of standing, Denial not being quite as strong as they were earlier this split, and Soar rising up, going to be able to take that in a 2-0 in favor of Soar. And for Luminosity versus Eager, while Eager is still a very strong team and a very strong roster, Luminosity being stronger at this point in the split, going to be able to take that in a 2-0. Moving into Europe, NRG versus Cyclone GG, it's going to be a relatively easy game, easy set for NRG Esports here. They're going to be able to take that in an easy 2-0. Kind of following up on that, Sanguine going to be able to take it on a completely different caliber of team play. It's going to be a little bit lower than we see from NRG, but still stronger than Fantastic, and because of that, they're going to be able to take that in a 2-0. For Hungry for More and Dignitas, both these teams being really close to each other right now, and honestly, because of that, I feel like it's going to be a 1-1 split. If Hungry for More has been practicing, or Dignitas, honestly, it could go either way, but because of that, I feel like it's going to be a 1-1. And for the last match of the week, Bipolar Method versus Cringe Crew. Again, two completely different kind of team styles, team play, and just different leagues of team. Bipolar Method going to be able to take this in what will more than likely be an easy 2-0. Again, there may be some hiccups, but more than likely an easy 2-0. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. As always, let's hope that these games go really well. They should be really interesting. There are a lot of them that are looking pretty good. And, you know, since there are no games on Saturday and Sunday this week, it's going to be perfect time. You can stop by and watch the Challengers Cup. It's streamed on twitch.tv/SmiteGame2. Hopefully going to be getting a host, possibly from Hi-Res TV, so you might be able to see it there as well, but I'm not sure. More than likely, it's safer to go to the link that you see right above twitch.tv/SmiteGame2. On Saturday, it will be Soza and Freight Train. Freight Train being the person who brings you Friday Night Smite, will be casting the European side of Challengers Cup, and it's the last week of open bracket, so it should be really close. There are some teams vying for seeding, some of them fighting for their life to get into the round robin stage, and the same goes for the North American side, where you will see me and Tiger casting that one. We will be going Saturday. It starts at 9:30 in the morning, a EU friendly stream. Sunday will be starting at 12:30 p.m. all at twitch.tv/SmiteGame, so please come tune in. If you're interested in what you might see, I have some NACC highlights on my channel, so click around and you can find those. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Again, it's always a pleasure. If you have any thoughts, you agree, you disagree, you just want to talk about the games, go ahead. Tell me down in the comments section. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully we'll be back next week, or whenever the SPL ticket and schedule gets revised to have games for week 5. We'll be back with those. Until then, guys, take care, and hopefully happy pickings.